I'm Dr. Michael DePalma. I'm the program director for the Master's of Biomedical Science program. With us, we also have Sarah Amini-Rod. She's the program manager Sarah Amini-Rod Hall. She just recently got married. And she's our program manager for the Master's of Biomedical Science. So you'll get a lot of emails and correspondence from her. And also with us is Dr. Tom Hartman. He's the director of the admissions for the ASHS residential PA program. Someone else you might come across if you do proceed with an application is Joe Kopelman. He's the enrollment counselor through online admissions. I'd just like to mention the names of folks that you could potentially hear from at some point in correspondence. And we all like to kind of reach out after the sessions just to see if you have any follow-up questions. So we appreciate you joining us today. A little bit about AT Still University. There are essentially over 100 different locations, 3 main campuses across the country that offer a multitude of healthcare disciplines at various sites. And we use these terms kind of interchangeably, but they offer a lot in the way of PA education, but also in physical therapy, speech language pathology. There's a number of different health discipline programs in addition to the osteopathic, medical, and dental programs that they have. One of the big things that we like to highlight is the mission statement. And I underlined a couple terms here as you read through the ATSU mission statement, because we really like to come back and focus on those as to what our program is about and what we're looking for in students and what we want to help for the future. And the ATSU as a whole really focuses on preparing highly competent professionals, focusing on that whole person healthcare. And particularly the PA program likes to really focus on underserved populations, as does the whole university. So we really like to support that mission, and we'll kind of revisit that towards the end of the presentation today. So what exactly is our program? It's really a program that's focused on helping to prepare students to both get accepted and succeed in PA school. So we offer 45 total credits over 9 months. It's all online and asynchronous, which is nice to be able to kind of work at your pace. But what this does is helps give you 45 credits, overall credits, 28 of which are in science, that can help to demonstrate to PA admissions committees that you're capable of handling such a rigorous coursework that is similar to what you would face in PA school. It can improve any academic deficiencies that you might have, give that nice record of sustained academic success that a lot of admissions committees are looking for. A little bit about PA school in general is there's currently 310 PA programs. So if you've applied in the past, if you're going to apply in the future, the reason why I like to put this slide up here is 310 programs may seem like a lot, and they take anywhere between 30 and 100 students per cycle, but that's a lot of students and it's a lot of competition. So you can see just the most recent cycle, 31,000 applications, over 31,000 were submitted, and only 12,000 students, so just over 12,000 actually matriculated into PA school. So that's about 20,000 students who are not getting into PA school. And what we tried to do is identify how can we help those students to better present themselves as a potential candidate. Looking at the application cycles over the last several years, you can see how the trends have continued to go up, which we would expect them to with the number of PA programs increasing over the years. And the number of accepted has gone up as well. But if you actually do the math and line these out, average applications has gone up by about 1,000 per year. Average acceptance is only going up by about 750 a year. So that competition still remains difficult to get into PA school. In general, as far as PA applicants are concerned, and this comes from the Physician Assistant Education Association, their data that they collect every year. The second bullet on that first section up at the top, students on average apply for a little over 2 years to try and get into PA school. So what we tried to do was shorten that for those students that are struggling to get in by giving them an opportunity to fill that time while they're waiting to get in with something that's going to certainly benefit them as they move on. In addition, once students get into PA school, graduation rate's about 94%, and this has remained relatively level throughout the last several years. And what that means is we want to help students ensure that they're going to succeed in PA school, that they don't get dismissed for academic reasons. And so we're going to prepare you academically. But also there's a term that they use called deceleration. When students are in PA school, you can have a short-term deceleration, meaning you have to take a course or a module or something over again, versus a long-term deceleration where you actually have to come back and repeat an entire year. That can be costly to the students. That's not advantageous to the university. And you're spending extra time doing that. By preparing yourself academically through a lot of the courses that we have, you can help to reduce that chances or the risk of having to undergo deceleration. So the big question a lot of students come in to these town halls with is, how can I be a more competitive applicant? The top couple bullets are things that we can help with in our program. So you can improve areas of weakness. As I mentioned, 45 credits can help your overall GPA, 28 credits can help your science. The science coursework that we offer is advanced sciences that are really related to the human body and what will help prepare you for the next step when you get into PA school. It helps to demonstrate that record of academic success. So if you've interviewed with PA programs in the past and have been told, you need to do something a little bit more to show us that you can succeed in PA school, this is a program that can do that, because we'll see here in a minute that you take a lot of courses at the same time. So it's a very rigorous pace to get through this, so you can really demonstrate that you're able to succeed in that. We do a medical writing course that also helps with your personal statement. And this is a big area that's reading through applications. I can tell you as a prior reviewer that a lot of admissions committees take seriously when they read your your personal statement. Some of the areas that we don't offer, but I still like to mention as ways to make yourself a more competitive applicant, is healthcare experience. A lot of programs require a minimum number, and it's really quality experience. So are you a scribe versus, or have you been an EMT or a CNA where you're having face-to-face and personal interaction with patients? And that makes a big difference with a lot of different programs that are out there. So make sure that you're getting quality healthcare experience hours. Are you doing any mission type of activities? Are you going on any mission trips? Are you volunteering? Especially you look at a program with a mission that has underserved populations as their goal. This is something that's going to check a really big box on the application as they're going through things. Research, there are a lot of PA programs that are out there that have thesis-based or evidence-based master's projects as a requirement for graduation. So coming in with research is going to be a very influential on your application. And finally, ask if you've interviewed and you've received a rejection letter from them. And again, that's happened to a lot of students. Looking back, if students are applying for over 2 years, that means they're getting rejected from PA programs. So it happens, but ask why. Ask what you can do to improve your application. Many times it is the GPA, but if there are other things that you can improve on, it's nice to receive that kind of feedback after an interview to know what you could do better to help your chances in the future. So what you can do is enroll in a program like ours. Our program is specific for PA school, for students who want to get into PA school, but that advanced undergraduate science coursework is really been designed as a PA. I can speak that to the fact that we've designed that curriculum with courses in mind that students have struggled when they first get into PA school. One of the big things that students struggle with is time management. Our program helps to teach time management by basically giving you a lot of courses at the same time. Developing those good time management skills definitely puts you in an advantage moving on. I think one of the highlights of our program too is the online and asynchronous learning platform. We use Canvas as our learning platform. We have a lot of interaction with different faculty members through discussion-based, through video-based, and then we certainly do face-to-face interaction with Zoom meetings with our students. I mentioned the curriculum and the courses that we're looking at. So anatomy, of course, our weeks, our courses are in 10-week blocks at AT Still University. So anatomy is a 10-week refresher. It's designed to be a refresher. So we do require anatomy as a prerequisite coming into our program, but this anatomy course will help to enhance your understanding. Physiology, we offer 3 physiology courses where we break it down by system. And this is very important too, because physiology is such an important aspect of learning when you're a PA, understanding the pathophysiology of how disease interacts and understanding the basis. When you get into that is going to be an advantage for you. Biochemistry, a lot of PA programs require biochemistry as a prerequisite, and a lot of them don't. So this is probably the course that students struggle with the most in our program, only because they haven't had a strong experience with biochemistry coming into it. Micro and infectious disease, I'm going to take this one personally because I teach this one, but I was a microbiologist before I became a PA. So I really like to emphasize the fact that this is human infectious disease. And what we really do is help to enhance your understanding of microbes. So when you get to those individual courses in PA school, you don't have to learn that material and then learn the disease. You're actually understanding it from that point. Pharmacology, we have 2 courses in pharmacology, immunology, and genetics, again, just to take that next step in more comprehensive and deeper understanding of some of those prerequisites that you might have had in undergraduate. Our social science courses, medical writing is very important. Students often don't understand why they need medical writing, but accuracy in writing is extremely important. Most PA programs they're all master's level now do require some type of capstone, evidence-based medicine, or thesis as terms requirements for graduation. So we do want to get through the basics of medical writing. We do a lot of writing in our ethics and social behavioral determinants of health. And then we have a 3 capstone series that does a lot of writing. Our capstone is designed so that you learn team-based care in the first capstone, where you really get to understand the inner workings of how PAs work with nurse practitioners, with physical therapists, with pharmacists, as part of the team, how everybody works together. Capstone 2 gets you really excited about being a PA, hopefully, where you get to interview a PA, you learn more about how a PA operates and what they can do. And then Capstone 3 is kind of a video and a presentation. As I mentioned, we do 10-week blocks. Our next program is going to start July of 2025, and the application window will be opening just a few short weeks on November 1st. Our 10-week blocks, and the reason why I put the blocks down here is so you can understand, because when we get to the next slide on the schedule, you'll understand how fall block 1, 2, spring block 1 and 2 will lay out there. And then we do in-person graduation in Mesa, Arizona on campus on June 5th in 2026. So anybody that comes to our program, we hope to see at graduation. This is a calendar. This is on our website. So if you visited the website, you might have already seen this, but this is what you can expect from fall semester, the first 10-week block starting in that July date. You're taking 15 credits in the first 10 weeks. Block 2 starts in September and ends in December. Another 10 weeks, you're taking 15 credits. You notice there's 6 classes here. Spring block 1 is 11 credits. And then spring block 2 is only a 6-week block that is a 4-week finish off your capstone and you finish off your major project. So this 6-week block would end in early May, which would give you the ability, if you were to apply and get accepted to a program, a PA program that matriculates in May, June, or July, would give you that option to finish our program and get into a PA program. This slide just basically goes through what I've kind of summary of what we've talked about here. The big thing is that course load of 30 credits in the first semester really helps to demonstrate, if you start applying early in the program or when the window for CASPA is open, then you'll be able to demonstrate in those first 15 or 20 weeks, essentially, that you have 30 credits and you're capable of doing this work. It might lead to a contingent acceptance from a PA program pending your completion of the program. We have a nice diverse faculty. It's not all made up of PAs. Many of us are PAs. Many of us are PAs that have taught in PA programs in the past. So you get a nice mix of clinically practicing PAs, PAs in education, and then we also have subject matter experts in pharmacology, in biochemistry, and particularly in physiology, who are teaching this because that's what they do. So you're learning from the experts. Our medical ethics is taught by a PA who has a master's of jurisprudence and health law. So we really tried to develop this nice, diverse team that you will have to work with you and help as you work your way through the program. So who should apply? Students needing to improve their overall and science GPAs. If you're looking to get a deeper understanding, if it's been a while, if you've been out of school and you're looking to come back and apply to PA programs. As I mentioned, I was a microbiologist for 8 years before I went to PA school. So a program like this would have been perfect for me at the time. Unfortunately, that was 20 plus years ago, so these didn't exist then. But having a program for a non-traditional student like this is certainly good to help get back into the swing of going to school again. You might hear this term gap year used a lot. It's really a bridge. So it's a bridge year rather than a gap year. If you are getting ready to finish your undergraduate and you just need an extra year of time at home or maturity or something along those lines, this year where you can develop before you go to PA school can be perfect for you. We have very few prerequisites as far as coursework, anatomy. We require 3 credits. If you have anatomy and physiology, it has to be both 1 and 2 to meet the anatomy requirement. English composition, because I mentioned we do so much writing in our program that we do ask for 2 classes in English composition. GPA of 2.5. Initially in our first cohort, we had this at 2.75, but our students did very well. And we lowered it to 2.5 to enable students who might have an overall or science GPA a little bit lower to have the opportunity to get into our program and succeed and show that they can do it in the PA program. Understanding that if you have a roughly 2.75 GPA, depending on how many credits you've taken, you would need approximately a 3.6 GPA in the master's program overall to elevate your GPA from that 2.75 to a 3.0. So I mentioned that because it is attainable to get to that minimum 3.0, which is a requirement for a lot of PA programs. But you should do the math and kind of calculate where your GPA would be with the total number of credits and total number of science credits that you have. The only other prerequisites that we ask is a letter of recommendation and all your transcripts from other programs. Letter of recommendation can be, well, and a personal statement, sorry. The letter of recommendation and the personal statement can be included. If you've applied through CASPA, you're certainly welcome to just upload what you've written for those. You don't have to rewrite something. So I mentioned that mission at the beginning of the talk. And, you know, when you look at our program and when you look at any other PA program out there, I would encourage you to find out what their mission is and make sure it aligns with your mission. I used to tell prospective students when I interviewed for PA school, you're interviewing the program as much as they're interviewing you. It has to be a right fit, because a poor fit is not going to set yourself up for success. We want students to come to our program to help improve their opportunity to get into PA school, but it has to be right for you. I don't want you to necessarily think you're taking a chance coming to any PA program just because they would accept you if you're not setting yourself up for success and doing everything possible. So I think our program does a lot to help with that, but you also want to take a look and make sure it aligns with your missions. Something that's a big incentive for a lot of students is the automatic interview. And I like to mention that the guaranteed interview is for anybody who completes our program. So you have to graduate from the program with a 3.5 GPA, and you must meet the minimum requirements of the ASHS PA program. That's why I've kind of focused on that 3.0 GPA a few slides ago. But it's very important that you understand you need to meet the minimum requirements. So on completion of that, since our program would finish in May, you would essentially be applying during that time, but your automatic interview wouldn't be until the next class, because July of 2026, when this program would finish, that class for PA, the ASHS PA program, would already be filled. So the interview wouldn't be in effect until that next cycle that would come around. Financial aid, I put this slide up here. This is available on our website as well, just to understand that financial aid is available for qualifying students. It's very, very specialized. And the best thing to do is reach out to one of the financial aid counselors and ask for a one-on-one meeting to determine. It's very, very individualized. So the best thing you can do before you look into the program is to understand how you're going to pay for it. That's a very important aspect, because it's also going to potentially affect PA education as well. So you want to certainly look into that. Just a quick disclaimer about our program. It is designed by PAs, and it's designed for admission to PA school. So I kind of say that with the intent that it doesn't mean that you can use this for dental school or medical school. That we do not know what their prerequisites are. So I don't claim to offer understanding in knowing that. And it's up to the individual to realize what, if any credits or any coursework would be accepted by the school that you're applying to. And also, the guaranteed interview is for the ASHS, the Arizona PA program only at this time. It doesn't apply to any other programs within ATSU. Okay, now a little bit of outcome data. And this is some new stuff that we put in this year because we had our first class graduate. And I like to really kind of highlight that coming in, if you look at the mean, our overall and science GPAs were below 3.0. Our students that graduated, we had 35 students in our first cohort, and they graduated with an average, a mean GPA of 3.67 overall and 3.63. So they did very, very well in demonstrating that they're capable of doing the work. And that's what we really wanted to see, is students coming in. So even looking at the minimum GPAs, we took we granted some waivers for students that had very low GPAs, and they even improved. This is in general, not necessarily that correlates to those students. But overall, students were very successful in the program. What this means for program interviews for the PA program, the ASHS PA program, we had 35 graduates in our first cohort. Of those 35, 29 students had a GPA of 3.5 or higher. So going back to that last slide with the means, 29 would actually succeeded in getting a 3.5 or higher. 27 of those met the minimum requirements of the ASHS PA program. So their GPAs were above the 3.0. They had all the prerequisite coursework. They met all the requirements that the ASHS PA program requires. Of those 27, 16 applied to the ASHS PA program. And of those 16, I'm very happy to report 2 were initially accepted to the current class. Those 2 applicants had applied previously, so they weren't subject to the automatic interview, but they were interviewed based on the fact that they met the criteria at that time. 1 student accepted and 1 student declined the seat because they were accepted in another program. But that's why that little star is there. But that was 2 that are in the current class. And so far, of those that received that automatic interview, of those 16, 6 have been accepted so far, because at the very bottom of the screen, there's still 6 more to go as far as interviews are concerned. So when you look at 16 that applied to the ASHS program, 50% were accepted. If you look at our whole class out of 35 students and the 8 that got accepted to the program, and again, this is just to the ASHS PA program. I know there are some other students in this cohort that were accepted to other PA programs, but I don't have those specific numbers. I only have our correlation with the ASHS PA program, but we're almost at 23% of our graduates getting to the program. So I think that's kind of bodes well for the success, and hopefully gets you excited about what our program can do. Ultimately, our goal is to help you get that white coat. We certainly want to see everybody succeed and give everybody the opportunity to get there. So I've kind of done my share of talking here, and we're going to open this up to any questions that you have, and I'm going to put some contact information up, so you feel free to reach out and email any of us with any questions.
one of my first questions that come to mind is I know that for PA school, they suggest you're not going to be able to work while you're in PA school. And you were
Yeah.
saying that it's comparatively a similar workload, especially for that first semester. So then would the expectation be that I'm probably not going to be able to work if I were to get into the program during at least that first semester, if not the entire 9 months? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great question, and that's something that we get at a lot of the town halls that we do. And I'm going to put it back and say it depends what type of student that you are. We designed this to be the online program so that our due dates are kind of like towards the end of the week. Assignments are made at the beginning of the week, due dates are at the end of the week. That's how you learn your time management. A number of our students that are in the program now are working. So I will say that. Some are struggling because they're still trying to figure that time management out, and others are succeeding because they've learned to develop those skills a lot faster. I don't want to tell students they can't work when they're in this because money is definitely a driving factor of being able to succeed in this program or get into this program and then get into PA school. And although it's intense in that first block, I think understanding what your goal is in getting into PA school, and if it's a struggle, you just kind of can understand to take a step back, or I can do this and I'm capable of getting through it. So I know that tap danced around that question a lot, but it's hard to come out and say you can work, you can't work. It really, I'm seeing students doing it and they're succeeding at it, but it takes a lot of effort to do so.
You were saying that a lot of the um, classes, you're doing Zoom meetings, you're doing sometimes one-on-one meetings with the teachers. Are those in consistent conjunction with the previous question of potentially working at
Yeah,
the same
and
time?
what we
Is
tried to
that
do
flexible?
is it's very flexible. What we don't require any like live meetings because it's an asynchronous program. What I try and do is I would offer office hours, at least once a week, and then by appointment. So, you're working during the day, and we're all over the country. So some are on the East Coast, some are in the Midwest of our instructors, um, and we want to make it as flexible and give you the opportunity to meet with us. So during my open office hours, I stagger them. They might be in the afternoon this week, and they'll be in the evening next week, and on a Tuesday, and the next week they'll be on a Sunday. Or usually try not to do weekends, but I'm happy to if we need to meet students. Um, Most of what we do as far as assignments are videos, so that students can upload their video or record themselves, upload it, and then students can respond by doing the same way. So we do a lot of discussion based back and forth through Canvas, through our posts. And we try and be as interactive as we can with students in that way. But we don't necessarily require, it's just if you need assistance, that's when you reach out to an instructor and say, when can we schedule some time?
In terms of the coursework is a lot of um, it's a 10-week per block, you were saying. So then are would we be looking at for each course is the weekly testing, or is it like there's just a final that you're aiming for? How does that
Each course is different in that regard, and what we're trying to do is not have, I don't want to say predictable, but in PA school, it's not unheard of to have 3 or 4 exams in one week, and then the next week maybe have a paper due. So, we kind of tried to design it that each course, I can tell you from the microbiology standpoint that I do modules, and you'll do like 3 weeks of viral, and then you'll have a module quiz based on those 3 weeks. That's 75 questions. The next week might be mycology, which, fungus. That's only a 1 week module. So you'll have a 25-point quiz at the end of that week, along with cases that are due that week. Some of the, like biochemistry, has anywhere between like a 10 to 20 question quiz every week based on those concepts. And it's kind of important to get those because if you're understanding them, then you can kind of move on. A lot of courses have some type of discussion post or something to in addition but quizzes aren't necessarily every week, and if they are every week, they're not like they're 100-question quizzes. We just do like a 10 or 15-question quiz weekly for courses.
In terms of program material, is the access to material, is there ample material for each student to find and to study throughout each program or each?
Yeah, another great question, but you came well prepared. So we really tried to select all of our reading material through the AT-Still library. So they're all online textbooks that you'll have access to as a student. So nothing will need to be purchased. We have, if I come across an up-to-date or recent article, we send those out in weekly announcements to students, so we can download them ourselves, that we don't have to have students paying for all that access to news, to articles or journals, things like that. So yes, the material is there. I know a lot of instructors like to record a weekly video to supplement. So maybe a 15-20 minute highlight video to supplement the readings that you have for that week.
No, there was a slide on this. I didn't catch the date, but the application cycle is starting November 1st. And then when would the start of that cohort be for that?
Yeah, so the cohort starts in July. So July 14th, 2025 is when our next cohort would start. Application cycle, or the window, is opening now, and it would be open till June 15th.